Hi guys, Andy here. I've been using my LG G Watch R for a week or so now. You may be aware I've had the Samsung Gear Live, I've had the Moto 360, so this is the final one of the current crop of Android Wear devices. So hopefully I can give you some positives and negatives of this against the other two, and we'll perhaps make a conclusion at the end of which one is the best out of the three perhaps. But I think generally that's going to be down to your own personal taste, and I think aesthetics are a big part of that. So I really like the look of the G Watch R, for example, but I know that a lot of people don't like the huge big bezel, etc. They prefer the 360. Oh, I missed out the original G Watch, sorry, the R4. To me that was too ugly to be considered. Anyway, right, so let's get on. I'll tell you what I think about the watch. We'll start off with the design. The first thing I think you notice about this device is the big bezel around the outside. Obviously that's not any kind of touch screen, that's not part of the screen, that is just literally a sort of plastic bezel, can't be changed, you've got those numbers dotted all over it. Now a lot of people have kind of moaned and whinged, oh I don't like the size of the bezel. To me that just looks like a watch looks, you know, I don't see that being a problem. I quite like that design. But it's definitely a point that will put some people off perhaps, or some people will like. Then we get to the strap. Now as you can hopefully see there, it does say genuine leather. When I first unboxed it I thought it felt like very cardboardy. It has, I mean I've been wearing it over a week or so now and it has kind of loosened out, which I guess, you know, leather does, doesn't it? It starts off very stiff and rigid and then it's a lot nicer now, although you can see even after only a week, see the sort of creases and cracking there. I don't know how that's going to end up given a year. Now hopefully it'll be fine. But having said that, it takes a standard 22mm strap, so you can change the strap, you know, if it should, or if you just don't like the strap you can get like a metal strap. I've been quite tempted to put a metal strap on, but I've got to be honest, I'm not sure how I would do it. I don't know if you have to unscrew things, I don't know, let's not worry about that right now. The device itself is 62 grams, which is fairly normal for a smartwatch. I think they're all in that sort of region. Your normal watch, like my normal wristwatch, was about, I think, 18 grams when I weighed it, so it is heavier than a regular wristwatch, but to me, not to the point that you notice you're wearing it. It's still very light. 9.7mm thick, which is a bit thicker than the others. It's a slightly bulky design, but I don't think it's an ugly design. So their original G Watch I thought just was straight up ugly. It's boxy, blocky, bulky, bleh. But I kind of, as soon as I saw this I thought, well that's how a watch should look basically. I think it's very nice. If we talk about the hardware itself inside, we've got a 400 megahertz, we've got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 1.2 gigahertz processor and board. The screen itself is 1.3 inches, 320 by 320 for the first proper round display, no flat tower like we get on the Moto 360. That resolution comes out at 348 pixels per inch, which is quite a long way higher than the 360, which I think was in the 200s somewhere. Because the screen itself is slightly smaller, but it does, because it's 320 by 320, not 320 by I think 290 the 360 was. It just means there's a lot more pixels jammed in there. And personally, I do think it looks better than the 360 display. The display itself is POLED, always on. So that means even when, see right now at the minute, just interestingly, it's connecting and disconnecting from my phone. Now my phone's right here, so I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. I haven't had that problem. I've not gone to use it and, you know, it's odd that it's doing it today because it hasn't normally done that. Anyway, I'll carry on. It has 4 gig of onboard storage. I'm not entirely sure what we do with that at this point. I assume at some point we can transfer music over and play music directly from the watch. In fact, I'm sure that was in a recent update, so if you had Bluetooth earphones. It has half a gig, so 512 meg of RAM, as do, I mean I think all of the watches are like that, 4 gig onboard and half gig RAM. Obviously Bluetooth 4.0, which means it doesn't really drain any battery being connected to your phone. It has a barometer for altitude as well as the standard heart rate monitor, but it also has a compass, which I'm going to try and show you now. And I have to go back to a specific watch face. You'll see a few of the, I think they're very nice watch faces on this watch. Here we go, hiking. So it says incorrectly that I'm facing east. Let's try, that is, come back. that should be north, somewhere there's northeast. It does, you do need to do a bit of the old, like you're supposed to do with your phone at times, spin it around all axes. Right, north is, yeah, that's better. How can, if that's north, how can that be east? Isn't it north, east? Yeah, never eat shredded wheat. How on earth does it think that is east if that's north? It does say it struggles a bit near lots of metallic things, such as my monitor, my computer, all that sort of thing. It's probably interfering quite a bit with it. And again, it's disconnected. I know it's connected again. Again, I've not normally had that problem. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll also show you, it's got a step meter on there. It points to 0, even though I think it says I've got 5k. So that's a little weird at this point. I have seen it working properly, maybe just because I've just flipped around onto this screen. And it also has an altimeter. Like it says we're 197 feet in altitude. Normally you get an option, I'm surprised it's not, to kind of set a point of reference. As in, if I know I'm at 500 feet, I can tell it I'm at 500 feet and it adjusts from there. Now I have put that in once, and I think that's roughly what I should be at, around 200. Real quick, let's just slide through the other watch faces available. Most of these come with it. I do have a few that are installed myself. Suit's the one I've been using. It's got the battery and the date and then the time. That's all I really am after. I prefer the simple looking, not quite that simple. So face wash into this. Oh no, these are back to stock. Come with it. Fitness, and then where are we? Back round. So where did Suit go? That's the one I want. Suit. So there we go. It is IP67 rated, which means you can go a metre deep in water up to 30 minutes. So generally you're going to be fine swimming in it in a pool. You'd be fine in the shower. You'd be fine in the bath, should you wish. Which I guess is quite important for a watch. You know, you don't want to be worried if it's raining or stuff or such like that. The battery is 410 milliamp hours. So what's that? Equal biggest of the lot that are available. And it allows for this always on display, which I'm a very big fan of. I don't like when the screen goes off, as it kind of does there, but on the 360 it'll be totally blank until you raise it up to look at it. Now that worked quite well. It lit up, recognised that I was doing it, but sometimes it won't. In fact, I have found this probably the least responsive of the watches I've had. It's working fine now, but there have been times that it just, I'll be shaking my wrist around like crazy and nothing particularly happens. As we can see, it's playing ball at the moment, even if it is keep disconnecting, and maybe I just need to reset the phone, the watch perhaps. So yeah, there are some problems with it not reacting sometimes when you lift the watch, but yes, I think generally it's when it's been, so if I've had it on charge overnight it gets a bit unresponsive early in the morning perhaps, I don't know. It's worth pointing out actually that the heart rate monitor, now I'd kind of assumed that they're all using the same tech, they're all going to be very much the same one to the next. Most of them, when I'm in the gym, they really struggle as I start to perspire. The moisture, maybe it's the noise in the gym, they might work early on when I'm just starting on the bike perhaps, but normally by the end of the bike, and then as I'm actually lifting the weights in the gym and I'm sweating, they just can't get a readout. So I was quite surprised. The G-Watch R, not once did it tell me that it couldn't get a heart rate. It did get it wrong, so there was one time my heart was going at least 120 and it just showed me 60. Another time, very similar, 127, it showed me 70. So it gets it wrong, but I think maybe it's just sort of built in bigger variance allowances when it's struggling. It maybe just thinks, oh, I'll discount that, maybe it wasn't right, I'll count that one, I'm not sure about the one, I'll count that one, rather than where another watch might say, this just isn't accurate enough, we're going to tell them to naff off. This one has a go at it, but it could well be wrong. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I did get some heart rate readings when I don't think I would have from the other ones. So generally I guess a thumbs up on the heart rate monitor. It's never going to be a sort of a totally reliable way to measure your heart when you're really pushing things. You want a proper heart rate monitor, but it seemed to do a pretty good job in circumstances that others couldn't cope with. The screen itself goes off only when you're charging. Now I've not got this plugged in at the moment, so it won't do it. Well, I don't think it will anyway. But we have the magnetic cradle dock, which has a micro USB port there, which I'm pleased it's a standard port. You know, I don't know why you'd want to put your own type of connector. Just let me plug it into whatever I would normally put my phone into, really. Although, because it's magnetic, even when the cable's in there, I mean, it comes off fairly, you know, I've only got a fingernail on that now and it's coming off fine. But when it's a cable, it does kind of, I find it kind of lifts a bit, and maybe they should have made it a little bit, I mean, it's a reasonable weight, but maybe they should have made it even heavier so that it stays on your desk when you lift the watch off. But I like it. It sort of fits. It's not quite as nice as the 360's dock, obviously, which is proper wireless, whereas this does have connectors, as you can see. And also the 360 has the sort of charging mode where it turns itself into kind of a night light, or well, a nightstand watch, and it will just display the time on there for you. As I said, this one, the screen goes totally off. That's fine. I mean, I've got a bedside clock, so I've no need for this to do that for me. And as the screen goes totally off, it's not like it illuminates the room while it's charging overnight, which is good. So what else to know? It does feel a little odd sometimes swiping in from the sides. I'll just show you. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. What's the population of Scotland? Oh, interesting. Now this might be related to it having a bit of a fit with the. So it says there we're connected. Okay, Google. What's the population? See, disconnected. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's just reboot. Restart the watch, because it doesn't normally. Like I say, I honestly haven't had this problem in the sort of, I don't know, 10 days that I've been using this watch. I'm not quite sure why it's doing it now. So we'll give it a reboot and I'll come right back to you. Right, we're back, we've rebooted. We seem to be back in action. Actually, it's vibrating now when I do that as well. It wasn't before. So I don't know quite what had happened. It's going to have a bit of a fit on me. Okay, Google. What's the population of Scotland? So, I love how it puts things like the flag in the background. So it feels a little weird having the bezel there when you swipe right from the edge, but not excessively so. I don't know. Anyway, so all in all, I really like this watch. I think the screen is fantastic. This is on the lowest brightness setting. Let's just show you. I'm going to crank it all the way up. That's it at its brightest. If it will focus on that. It has good viewing angles on the display, and how well that shows on the video. It's responsive. It doesn't. I don't think it lags. Apart from those funny issues I was having earlier on, I've not had any problems at all with it, and a quick restart's fixed them. The strap was a bit of a concern initially, but actually that's softened out. I still do have some reservations about the sensitivity. And again, maybe it's just kind of, it's had fits, like small fits. I just should restart it when it's not responding for me lifting my arm. Because when I've asked other people, none of them have said that they've had issues. So, and as you can see now, it seems to be, well, it plays ball perfectly on camera. It knows it's on stage. So, which is the best watch? I think it very much is down to the aesthetics in which you prefer. So the 360 doesn't quite perform as well as the others, I wouldn't suggest, and the battery isn't as good, and the screen can't be always on, but it looks beautiful, and it's probably the most responsive to the wrist movement, which is a good thing because the screen being off otherwise. The Gear Live, performance-wise, very, very good. Same probably as the G-Watch R. It's a nice stylish, if you want that kind of, I know some people have actually prefer that look to the round watch. That's fine, then obviously that's the one for you. But I think, so I'd sort of early on, I'd hedged my bets on the G-Watch R. I liked the look of it. That was the one I was aiming to keep as my daily watch. And personally, I think I've made the right decision. The battery, as I said, like I've been using it quite a lot. We're down to 80 from it coming off charge this morning, about 7 or 8 hours ago. But generally, through a day, I've hardly ever got below 60%. I think probably if I left it overnight without and then used it the next day without charging, I'd probably get through a second day. So all in all, a very good watch. It has recently dropped slightly in price. So I think it's down to about $220 now. You can get it from clove.co.uk. Very fast, efficient service from my good buddies at Clove. I highly recommend them. So there we go. Obviously, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And obviously, if you're watching this in 4 or 5 months' time, there might be very different watches out by that point that might be far, far better than this. But right now, I personally believe the G-Watch R is the best watch on the market. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.